I want to thank you for being a loving mother, for leading me down the right path, and for always trying to help me whatever you do, like at work, at church, or at home. You always try to help me. Thanks, Mom.
I remember one time when I was in, I think, 5th grade, and I really wanted this Power Ranger toy in Hong Kong, and Dad didn't want to get that for me because he thinks it's a waste of time and he thinks I should man up. But you got it for me anyway, so I love you, Mom.
Yo. Hello, thank you for supporting me in life. Happy Mother's Day.
Just want to say that I love you because, one, you're my mother, and also because you support and you provide for me in so many different ways, despite how many crazy things I do and how busy I am. And also because even though you're tired, you still pour out your love to us because you love us so much. And also because even though you don't say it, I know you still love me despite how many pimples I have on my face. Thank you for being you. I love you, Mommy. Happy Mother's Day.
The times we share together where I can be personal about myself with her, and she doesn't really care because she's my mom, and so in those times it's like we're best friends and it's really fun. I love you, Mommy.
I still remember like just me being hungry, like somewhere in Vietnam with my cousin, and then you just come out of nowhere, be like, hey, there's food, come in and eat, and I'm like, thank you. And so yeah, just thank you for providing the food for me and everyone around me, and just being the best mother ever. Con yêu mẹ.
Me too. Con yêu mẹ.
Thanks for making the avocado smoothies at night.
So the happiest moment I had my mom would be when she took my sister out of foster care. I didn't feel like I don't think anybody would have been in foster care. One thing she did for me that I was took us in, she kept us cold, she kept us under a house, food, water, a mom, the best time. She wanted us to, she just got this thing. But she took us in, really happy and really thankful.
So one thing I really love about my mom is that I think everybody watching knows that I was in the hospital for a while, and my mom was there with me, and even though she had a lot of work to do with school and all, she still stayed by my side, like through all the pain that I had, a lot of pain. So I really thank you, Mommy, for just staying by my side throughout those very long 15 days.
And she makes me sandwiches.
Thank you so much for everything that you have done to us, and we really hope that you have a wonderful day today. I really hope that you know that I love you so much, even though I don't say that to you a lot.
The reason why I love my mom, one, she helps me when my hair is like this. She makes it not like this, but she's not here right now, so it still looks like this. And two, even though I have all these activities and I do keywords, I do all these things, I always have to go to different places, my mom is always there for me to drive me, and she doesn't complain. Actually, she does complain a little bit, but she still does it because I know that she loves me and I love her too.
Even though my mom is not here, but I'm thankful that you are my second mom, and thank you for taking care of me and helping me. I love you.
Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Yay. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mommy.
Happy Mother's Day. Yay!
All right, good morning, TLC. Hey, we raised some good kids at TLC, yeah? Man, happy Mother's Day, everybody. You know, for all y'all who are thinking about whether you want kids or not, hey, we raised them good here. So, make babies, okay? In time. in time, correctly. All right? All right. Yeah, I gotta throw it out there just in case. People misconstrue the words all the time. All right, my name is Tony. Good to see you guys. Man, we got a few great announcements for you guys real fast. Let's put it up. Anonymous pantry. We have this anonymous pantry we're trying to fill up that pantry over at Orangeville Junior High. If you guys walked in, you probably saw this huge board that we created up there for you guys. It's very simple. All you gotta do is take a 3x5 card that's there, and there's 4 categories of stuff that you can donate to. So these are needs that you wish to provide for the students over there. Needs like canned soup, cup of noodles, needs like blankets or warm clothing, needs like toiletry, like toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant, needs like school supplies. You just write whatever needs that you feel like you can provide. You put your name, your number, so that way I can make sure you provide it, right? Tap it onto the needs section, and once you bring it in, you just gotta take it and put it up to the fulfilled section. So that way we know that those needs are fulfilled and taken care of, and then we can fill that pantry up. We're trying to fill it up by the end of this month, so please come out there, be a part of that. We're looking for the principal is just really thrilled that we're actually being a part of helping them, so they're just excited. So I sent him the picture of the board this morning, and he loved it, and he said thank you so much for our community and what we're doing. So Anonymous Pantry, please come out there and be a part of that. We love you. Okay. Next one. All right, Sing for Hope. Oh shoot, the date's still wrong. Okay, so Sing for Hope. Dance for Hope. Is Dance for Hope? All right, so apparently there's a lot of miscommunication for Hope, but there's gonna be a lot of things. That's Hope. What Hope is? Hope is really just confusing sometimes. So the actual date is June 17th. So disregard that. June 17th. It's the actual date for the Dance for Hope. Right? We're gonna have a bunch of different acts coming in, and what we're doing is we're really just gonna raise money. That's our thing. We're gonna raise money for the nonprofit, one of our sister Kat, created for Hope, and we're trying to really use that money and that fund to care for these kids over in Peru. So if you guys are, you're free June 17th. June 17th is a Friday. June 17th is a Friday at 7 p.m. in our fellowship hall. So it's gonna be crazy. They're gonna deck it out. It's gonna be awesome. If you guys don't know Kat, she's a great event planner. She makes everything look really great. So it's gonna be amazing in there. All right. So it's gonna blow your mind. So make sure you guys go there and be a part of that. Okay. So Sing for Hope. Dance for Hope. Just give to Hope, okay? Here we go. Next one. VAY sign-ups. If you haven't signed up for VAY yet, vaysm.org. I think today is the last day before it goes up. Yes, the price goes up. So you need to sign up. Let people know that you are going to be a part of that. The coaches will find you. I don't know how they're going to find you, but they will find you, and we're going to start training and start practicing together. So it's a fun thing. Every summer we get together with a bunch of churches, and we do this, okay? So I know sometimes it gets really tiring, sometimes it gets really crazy, but it's always fun because it's fun cheering for you guys, and it's fun when I see you guys win, okay? And when we lose, it's all right too, but usually when we win. All right, here we go, next one. Okay, why play if you're gonna lose? All right, Gave Quest, here we go. VBS, okay? VBS is coming up. It's gonna be great, July 11th to July 15th. I'm gonna downplay it today. It's gonna be all right, VBS. If you guys want to show up to. We would appreciate that, No, it's going to be great. VBS, we're going to bless a lot of these kids. And, because it's opening up, we're actually having a great relationship with the community right now. So we're going to bring a lot more kids into this place. So you want to be a place you want to be used to do some blessings, right? Sign up for VBS Cave Quest. All that information will be, we just need to sign up first, right? wearetruelove.com/VBS. That's it first, right, Kevin? Just sign up. And then Kevin will give you the rundown when he finishes finals, okay? The man still goes to school. All right, here we go. Cool. I think that's it for the announcements. There's nothing else. All right, bow heads. Let's get started. Father, thank you so much for this Mother's Day as we come and, Lord, reflect upon our moms, Lord. They are truly the physical representation of unconditional love, Lord. If we fail ever to see what your love can look like, all we have to do is look towards the moms you have given to us. And so I pray, oh God, into that, and I ask, oh Lord, that today as we love upon our moms, care for our moms, Lord, would you remind us ultimately that love was a reflection of your ultimate love. So help us to see you clearer this day. Help us to see you clearer as we follow after you. We praise you, pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. We've been going through the series on follow, what it means to be a follower of Jesus, not just a consumer, not just someone that just takes Jesus in and kind of use him, but someone who actually follows him to the end. Follow him to the end of the road, to the end of everything. Follow him without fail, right? And last week we talked about this idea of fine print. Just in case you guys missed the fine print, following after Jesus is not always, fun and games. It's not always rainbows. There are times when you're going to have to deny yourself, when you're going to have to take up your cross, right, and actually follow him. Those are times when that happens, right? And today we're going to talk about the one son every mother wished they never had, right? It's Judas Iscariot, right? Judas Iscariot, the one greatest betrayer, okay? Because Judas Iscariot was a follower of Jesus. He followed Jesus, but he was a consumer of Jesus. And we're going to see what led him down that road. Right? We're going to see what led him down this road to get to where he was, where he is, where he actually ended up betraying, being the greatest betrayer the world's ever known. The only person in the world has ever betrayed, ultimately, the Son of God. Right? And so we're going to go into that today. So let me start off with this kind of picture for us. I want to lay something down for us. We're all consumers. When we all first became Christians, we're all consumers. If you became a Christian when you were a kid, most of the time you probably became a Christian as a kid because some teacher said, who wants to accept Jesus and go to heaven? And everyone was like, I'm pretty sure there's a anti-heaven, and I don't want to go there, so why not? Accept Jesus, pray a prayer, get to heaven, shoot, sign me up, right? So everyone signed up to believe in Jesus because ultimately you want to get to heaven, And as you grew older, if you stayed in the church, what happened? You stayed in the church because the community was great, right? You had good people around you. You stayed in the church because maybe listening to Jesus' teaching gave you peace in life as you walk through, as you try to navigate the obstacles of life. Or you stayed in church because it made you a better person. It made you kinder. It made you more generous. It made you a better friend. Made you a better boyfriend. Made you a better girlfriend, husband, wife. It made you kind of a better person. So you kind of like, hey, you know what? Believing in Jesus gets me this. So I kind of dig that. We all start off as consumers. So this is not a bad thing. Okay, I want to lay you guys down there because sometimes I know when I preach it seems like consumer bad. Follower. That's the way. I want to let you guys know that let's be real. Right? In reality, let's live in the reality of the world. We all start off as consumers, okay? And if you actually read the Bible, you realize they all started off as consumers too, okay? All of his disciples started off as consumers. Last week we saw it, right? Peter was like, yo, Jesus, I mean, why are you talking about death all the time, man? Let's be real here, You're famous, I'm famous, I want to be famous because of you, so let's stop talking about death and let's just go out there and do something holy and just, rise up in power. And Jesus said to Peter? He said, get behind me, Satan. You don't have the concern of God. You have the concern of men. You don't care for what I want. You care for what you want. See, Peter was a consumer. Jesus was a means to an end, not the end itself. We see it throughout Scripture. We see it through his disciples. John and James, they walk around. They always complain like, hey, Jesus, when he becomes king, who's going to sit on his right side, right? Who's going to get the high position? James was like, I want it. John was like, I want it too. So both of them couldn't decide, so they asked their mom to ask Jesus, which is just lame, right? It's totally lame. They asked their mom to ask Jesus, Peter was once quoted by saying, hey, dude, Jesus, we followed after you. We gave up a lot, and so what's in it for us? What's in it for me? Okay? I don't see what's going to be in it for us. So they're all consumers. You know how we know they're consumers? Because on the night that Jesus was arrested, on the night when they thought big thing was about to happen the next day, on that night when Jesus was arrested, they all boned out. They all left him. Because no longer does following after Jesus get them somewhere. Following after Jesus now ends them up in prison. So they said, see ya. Don't want to be here, right? I'm out of here. Peace. So they all left. They all left because why? They were consumers, not followers. So I want you guys to understand this first off, okay? If you feel like in your life right now that when you walk with God, it seems like you're just in it because you get something out of it, you're not alone, right? It's not bad, the worst place to start off, because you walk in the footsteps of many people who've done that, disciples themselves. Okay? But if you read through the New Testament, what happens towards the end is this. Towards the end, all the boys that abandoned Jesus, all the boys that walked out, that betrayed him, right? All the ones who were supposed to be loyal to him, walked away from him. They all came back. They all came back. Okay, they all came back. Jesus forgives them all. And the same group of cowards that ran when things got tough, that kept using him and using him and using him, the same group of cowards went into Jerusalem, then into all the known world, and they sacrificed their life. They gave their lives, not for what Jesus taught. Okay, everyone can enjoy Jesus' teaching. They gave their life for what they saw. Not Jesus dying on the cross, because people die on the cross all the time. They gave their life for the resurrected Lord, for what they saw. Okay? In that moment, they gave up their agenda for their lives, and they accepted God's agenda for their lives. In that moment, they gave up their agenda for the world, and they accepted God's agenda for the world. Right? And they became full-fledged followers of Jesus. What happened? What happened? Do you know what it is? It's called a defining moment. They engage in a defining moment when your agenda, what you want, what you desire, everything that you made you who you are, your passion, your pursuit, your agenda and God's agenda begin to clash. It butts heads with each other. That moment is what changes your destiny forever. What you decide in that moment changes everything forever. It's called a defining moment, right? A moment when you come head to head with God, your agenda, God's agenda, butt heads. And where you decide, how you decide, changes your destiny forever. They had a defining moment. And they made the transition from consumer to follower. Because in the defining moments with God, in your walk with God, when you come to those moments, and there are many moments like that, when you come to those moments with God, what you decide moves you from a consumer to a full-fledged follower, or it leaves you forever a consumer. Or ultimately, maybe just a person who abandoned Jesus. Because there was one, the one son no mother wished to have, Judas, who came to his defining moment, and he made the wrong call. He made the wrong call that cost him his life, right? So we're going to look into that story today. We're going to look into the story of Judas. I'm going to try to paint the picture for you, how Judas got to where he did. Because it wasn't, every road down the road of evil starts off pretty good. It starts off with well and good intentions. No one does anything stupid in the beginning, right? Unless you're really stupid, right? No one does anything really dumb in the beginning. You have to kind of pave your way slowly there, okay? We're going to see Judas' story, how he paved his way slowly there. And ultimately, when he got to that moment, when he had to define his agenda and God's agenda, what led him to choose his own, okay? That's the story. And as we look into that, hopefully we can learn something from it. Hopefully we can recognize our defining moments. And hopefully we can actually grow and become followers of Christ in those moments. Okay? So let me start off, a little background on Judas Iscariot real fast before we open the Bible. Judas, right? Judas, like most of the apostles, right? They believe this. They believe that God was going to restore Israel. That God was going to make this nation an amazing nation again, right? Make America great again. Make Israel great again. That was Judas's thing, right? Israel's going to be great. It's going to be a world power, right? And Judas believed fully in his heart that there's going to be someone, a person who's going to sit on the throne, become king, kick out the Romans, and the Palestine, Jerusalem vicinity will once again be under Jewish rule. Not under Roman rule, not under any other rule, but Jewish rule. That's what he wanted. That's what he desired. That's what he wished for. And when he saw Jesus show up, he thought, this is it. He's the man. He spoke with more authority than anyone has ever spoken in their life. He did more miracles and more powerful things than anyone can possibly ever imagine. They thought Jesus is the one to do this, right? Jesus is the one to do this. So he waited and he watched. He waited and he watched for Jesus, okay, to come to this power. But as he waited and as he watched, he realized something. Something's wrong with Jesus, right? He's not doing it the way I expected. He's not doing it according to my agenda. He's not doing it according to my agenda, according to what I thought was going to happen. Actually following after Jesus, because he thought this is his mindset. If Jesus was going to rise in power, which everyone thought he would, and all his boys that follow him is going to rise with him. So if I'm one of his boys, I'm going to rise in power with Jesus, right? Jesus was a means for Judas's end. Judas wants power. He wants to be recognized. He wants to have some sort of authority in this new world that he thought Jesus was going to create. And so he wanted to follow after Jesus to create that, to be a part of that. But as he's walking with Jesus, what happens? He begins to see some issues, right? First off, Jesus didn't hate the Romans. So Judas is kind of peeved about this. He's like, look, the whole point of having a Messiah, the whole point of being a Savior, Jesus, is that we hate the Romans. Romans bad. They came. They took over our territory. They oppress us. Bad. We don't like them. What does Jesus do? There's a story about a centurion that came by. He says, the centurion came to Jesus. Hey, Jesus, can you save my servant? And the disciples are like, no, don't save his servant. He's a Roman. Bad. But what did Jesus do? Hey, all you fools, right? This is true faith right here. This is what I'm talking about, faith. And so he blesses the centurion, heals his servant, and gives the centurion this amazing blessing of what true faith looks like. So Judas was like, man, you're an idiot, right? You're supposed to hate the Romans, not love them. And on top of that, Judas wasn't very happy with Jesus also because Judas thought, if you're going to take over a country, if you're going to take over a nation, especially Israel, you have to rise in power. And the one people that needs to back you is the temple priest, right? The temple priest. If you want to be in power, the temple priest has to back you. But what do you do every single time they talk to you? Every single time they bring up a question, you shame them. You make them look like idiots, right? How are you going to come into power? Because they have to recognize you. If they don't recognize you, you don't get anything. But Jesus, what does he do? Every time, Jesus, they come and talk to you, you shame them. So Judas is like, you are like the worst campaigner ever for this revolution you want to make, right? You're horrible. And on top of that, Judas was like, you don't even know how to keep your money. We're supposed to be like, gathering campaign money here to start our revolution, but you go around, you keep telling people to sell everything, right? Give it away. You keep telling people that you're going to sleep with the foxes, right? There's no beds for you. Follow me and you'll be there, That's stupid, right? You were in the worst campaign ever. So Judas, with all this hope for Jesus to become this revolutionary man, is looking at Jesus and saying, why is he not doing that? Why is he not doing that? And then comes this incident that we're about to read. This incident where it just put Judas over the top. When he was like, that's it, I'm done, right? Jesus apparently is not, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going to make something happen. I'm going to make something happen. I'm going to push it so that Jesus will actually do what I think he's supposed to do. I'm going to speed up his campaign a little bit because he's apparently taking way too long. I don't know what his plan is, but he's taking way too long with it. I'm going to speed it up, right? There's something in us that's very similar to Judas' story, and that's why we're going to tell the story. There's something in our lives, the things that we do, that's so similar to the story of Judas. Well, we have an agenda, God has an agenda, and we want God's agenda to match up with our agenda, but sometimes it doesn't match, so that we force our agenda upon God. Some of you guys are at church because of that today, isn't it? Somehow you came up with a magical formula in your head. If I show up 3 weeks and I miss 1 week, God will look at me and say, hey, not bad, I'll bless you, Or you have this magical formula where you think, I'll show up, and I'll give not 10, but $12 today. And then God will look at, because I have a problem, that's why I'm showing up right now. I have an issue that I need to deal with, and I don't know really where else to go, but if I show up, maybe, it's bad enough for me to try anything, so I'll just show up to church, and hopefully, just my presence here, God will look upon that and be like, oh, hey, you showed up, nice to meet you. I'll bless you. It's about time to give you one of these blessings. We have that mindset, don't we? That we have this agenda that we want God to come in and fix for us. And then God has his own agenda, and then we don't realize that we actually are using God becomes a means to our end. There's a little bit of Judas' story in all of us. And so that's why as we look into this last part of Judas' story, what put him over the edge? Right? What is it that put him over the edge that led him to a place where he said, okay, fine. I'm going to betray the Son of the living God. Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26. Yes, you guys tagging along so far? Yeah, Matthew 26? 26, Matthew 26. I woke up this morning in fear because I realized I have 3 moms to take care of today. And I have no plans whatsoever. Right? So I need you guys to whisper to me later on what you guys are doing so I can copy it. Okay? Matthew 26. Just kidding, wife. I have everything planned out. Where is she? Okay. Matthew 26, verses 6 6 to 9. All right, let's check it out first, okay? So they're going to be at this place. They're chilling out. They're relaxing. And this girl comes in and breaks this amazing alabaster jar of perfume over Jesus. And all the disciples got mad, okay? So check it out. So 26, verse 6. So while Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of a man known as Simon the leper, okay, it's just a name. He was a leper, I think. Maybe he got out of it. Who knows, right? A woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she had poured on his head, and he was reclining at the table. A very expensive bottle of perfume. And when the disciples saw this, they were indignant. Why this waste, they asked? This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor. So imagine this. This is a very awkward scene, okay? Someone invites you over for dinner, and they decide to really go all out for you. Like they got the best china, they prepared everything, and you're sitting there, right? And you hold up the fork, this amazing pure silver fork, and you're like, seriously? Seriously? This is wasteful. You could have just sold this. I could have done it with In-N-Out, right? Why this? And you show it to them. And what happens to the whole mood of the dinner? It becomes really awkward, right? Wouldn't it be an awkward dinner table at that time? Like, seriously? And then the host would probably be like, I guess we shouldn't bring out the dessert. They might judge us some more for it. It's like, whoosh, I mean, like, this is this odd feeling that just was created. And who actually created this feeling? The Bible, and Matthew said the disciples were indignant. But John's was a little bit more detailed. On John chapter 12, can we get that? John chapter 12, verses 4 to 5. John chapter 12, John had a different way. He's like, well, it wasn't all the disciples actually. It was the instigator. You guys know the instigator? The one person that starts everyone off and gets all crazy with them, the instigator, right? John chapter 12, verses 4, right? The one that gets everyone in trouble, right, with Jesus. So John chapter 12, verses 4, this is what happens. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, objected to this whole perfume. Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages. Verse 6, it says, he did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. So as keeper of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put in it. So here's Judas, and he's sitting at the table, and he's seeing this girl come in. And, he's already peeved up with Jesus because Jesus is not running a good campaign. Like, he barely has any money. So Judas was, kind of keeping a little to the side just in case, if all else, if everything hits the fan, right? If things get bad, okay, at least he stole away some money, right? And so here this girl comes in with this alabaster jar worth a year's wage. That's like $50,000. Okay, I've never been given a $15,000 perfume bottle before, but maybe it's amazing. I don't know, made of baby's fat. I don't know, right? But it's this amazing bottle of perfume. And Judas was thinking like, dude, if she's gonna waste it like that, why don't she just sell it and give us the money? We'll give it to the poor, so that way I can get at least like a percentage out of that. I can steal a little bit of money out of that, so I can put it in my little stash, right? Do you understand what was happening here? Okay, Judas was sitting there with his other disciples, and he was instigating that. He was like riling them up. He's like, hey, yo, Bartholomew, one of them, right? Hey, guy, hey. which, there's two of them. I think it's one of them, right? Anyways, Bartholomew. Hey, man, that thing's worth like how much? 50 G. Like 50 large? Dang. That's messed up, right? I mean, that's waste, isn't it? And he's like, Bartholomew's like, yeah, that's a waste. Hey, yo, Thomas, check it out, man. That mug, dude, right? How much do you think you can get from that? Around 50? Yeah, right? Shouldn't we sell that? Like, yeah, duh. And then all the disciples got all mad because, Judas instigated this huge thing, right? And he's all upset with this one girl because she decided to bless Jesus, okay? And so what does Jesus do? Because Jesus knows. You can't whisper in front of Jesus, right? Idiots, right? Jesus knows your heart. He knows what you're thinking. So what does Jesus do? Go back to Matthew chapter 26. This is what Jesus does, okay? He knows what's in their heart, and so he begins to tell them. 26, verses 10. Matthew 26, verse 10. 26, verse 10. All right. And so what he says is, aware of this, Jesus said to them, why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. And when she poured this perfume on my body, she did to prepare for my burial. And so Judas was like, see, again? You're talking about dying again? Right? Peter was like, dang, you're not supposed to die, Jesus. Right? Verse 13, I tell you the truth. Wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of me. This is an amazing line. You know how crazy this line is? Do you know where Jesus was at this time? He was like in the armpit of the Roman Empire. Like nobody knew where this area was. He traveled within 25 miles only. And yet Jesus said this line. He said, one day my gospel will be preached all over the world. And when that day comes, this moment will be remembered forever. Forever. How do we know? Because I'm telling you about the moment right now, right? So Jesus knew that it's happening. That's crazy, isn't it? You know? So that's it. Judas was like, all right, talking about death, right? You're talking about all this crazy stuff. You're going too slow for me, Jesus. Judas says, you're going too slow for me. I need you to be the revolution. I need you to stand up and do something. I need you to stand up and tell everyone you are the Savior of the world, you're the Messiah, you're going to do this for us, and now you just gave up a $50,000 campaign money, blah, 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 right? Okay, so I'm going to force your hand. Matthew 26, verse 14, this is what he does in his mind. Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests. This is his plan. And asked, what are you willing to give me if I hand them over to you? So they counted out 30 silver coins. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand them over. So what's he doing here? He's going to hand over Jesus? You know what he was thinking? And this is how we kind of, people have guessed why he did it. Right? And reading the scripture and reading the beginning and the end of it, this is the best summation of why he did it. Okay? He went to the chief priest and told him, look, I know why you can't get to Jesus. I know you've been wanting to get to Jesus for a long time, right? I know why you can't get to him. You know where he's at. Just look for the biggest crowd. He's in the center of it, you know? You can't get to him because if you walked in there with a bunch of army people, say, excuse me, get to Jesus and kind of, excuse me, on your way out of there, they're going to riot and they're going to kill you. So you know you can't get to him, right? So let me give you a deal. I'll tell you when he's alone. I'll tell you when no one's around him. I'll give you the word, and when he's alone, I'll hand him over to you. I will hand him over to you. Why? Judas was thinking, if Jesus gets arrested, obviously Jesus is not going to let himself die, because that's Judas' agenda. He wants Jesus to stand up and do all these things and become a revolutionary. He's obviously not going to kill himself. That's just dumb. Who gives up their lives like that, right? He's not going to do that. So he's going to stand up and say, I'm the Messiah. Just kidding. Y'all can't arrest me, right? Let me tell you how. You know, he thought that Jesus was going to stand up and do his thing. He's just going to force it to happen faster. Arrest Jesus, force him to do it, and then we can start this revolution finally, right? That's the plan. That's the agenda. That's his will trying to overcome God's will. Okay? But you know what's funny? Can I go back to that? Verse 16? Verse 16? It's this last line right here. The opportunity to hand him over. Do you know how crazy this line is? Judas thinks that somehow he can thwart God's plan. He thinks that he somehow has a way of forcing God to do what he wants him to do. Can you imagine how crazy that is? That he thought that he can manipulate God to do and follow after his own personal agenda. You know how crazy that is? Think about this. Judas, you know that one time when you thought you were going to die in the boat and Jesus was sleeping and we woke him up and then he spoke to the weather and it stopped? You think you can hand that over? Yeah, right? Do you remember that one time when Lazarus was dying or dead in the tomb and Jesus kind of told him to roll the rock away and Lazarus come out and Lazarus actually came out? You think you can just hand that away? Remember that one time when Jesus put mud on someone's eyes and helped him to see? You think you can just hand him over like that? Judas? See, Judas was a fool. He was a fool because he came to a defining moment where it was his agenda and God's agenda, and for a moment he actually believed that his agenda can overcome God's plan. He came to a defining moment where he thought that if I push it enough, God's plan will follow through on what my plan is. You know what's crazy? We do that all the time, don't we? There's a little bit of Jesus in us all the time. We manipulate God all the time, don't we? Right? We treat God as someone we can manipulate to do what we want him to do and when we want him to do it. We pull him out of our pocket and says, God, I really need you this moment. But when I'm on spring break, I do not need you, right? God, I really need you at this moment because I'm on spring break and my friend just had alcohol poisoning, right? Please help, right? But then we put him away once everything's done. We need God. We call him out to whisper advice into our ears when we're doing a business deal, right? When the business deal is done and when we're traveling, I'll put God away, right? We tell God, just stand in the corner and wait. You're not allowed to go to the party with me, right? But if I need you at the party, I'll call you, right? No problem, But you're not allowed. You're not allowed there. You're not allowed there. Just stay there and wait, okay? You see, we try to manipulate God just the same way. We want our agenda to overcome God's agenda. We want our plan, our desire, what we want that. We think that can actually overcome God's ultimate plan for us, right? I don't need you, God, right now, right? But when my family things get bad, I'll call upon you, right? I'm not sick or anything, but if I do get sick, I'm in bed with cancer, then I'll start calling upon you. And then we have this idea that when God doesn't show up, when bad things happen, we're like, oh, where's your God? Where's God now? The God that you're calling on, that's not God. I'm glad you think that he doesn't exist because that God doesn't exist. The God that shows up only when you call upon him to make good things happen to you, that God does not exist, ever. So when catastrophes happen, people ask, where's God when all this happened? Well, the God that you're calling on doesn't exist. So I'm glad you're telling me he doesn't exist because he's not there, right? God does not just show up to fulfill our personal agenda. We have this idea that we think that somehow our agenda can overlap God's agenda. That's what Judas thought at his defining moment. This moment that's going to define his trajectory, his destiny forever. At that moment, he thought he can thwart God's plan. So let's see what happens. You guys see what happens, right? When you think that you can beat God's plan. Go to chapter 27, verses 1 to 2. Okay? Here it is. So, Garden of Gethsemane, he found out Jesus was going to chill there by himself. So he goes over to the chief priest and says, hey, I know where he's at. He's at the garden. It's kind of dark, right? Bring your soldiers. The guy I kiss, that's Jesus. Grab him. Okay? Happened. They grabbed him. All the boys boned out. Judas betrayed him. And he's thinking, now he's arrested. Now is the time. This is it. Jesus is going to, Superman cape's going to come out and he's going to do his thing, right? But you guys ever made a plan and then it just goes totally opposite what you want? Like totally opposite. Like you had it down to the wire and then it just went opposite because you couldn't factor in some of the variables. And Judas did not factor in some of the variables. Check it out. So 27 verse 1. Early in the morning, all the chief priests, after they arrested Jesus, and the other people came to the decision to put Jesus to death. Right? They want to kill Jesus. Verse 2. They bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate, the governor. Now this is crazy, okay? This was going the opposite way of what Judas thought. Because Judas thought this. I know that y'all want to kill him, okay? But I know that you guys can't kill him because you have no power to kill him. Jewish have no power to sentence death to anybody. So he says, okay, go in there, slap him on the wrist, yell at him a couple times. Jesus will, say, okay, fine, you arrest me, I'm going to show you what's up. That was Judas' plan. But then the chief priest was like, we can't kill him, but you know who can kill him? Pilate can kill him. Let's give him to Pilate. And so Judas is watching as Jesus is being moved over to Pilate. And Judas is thinking, no. This is bad. No. I want y'all to slap him on the wrist. Like Pilate can actually kill him. Pilate can actually kill Jesus. We don't want him dead. We want him to revolutionize our nation, bring us out of... No, this is bad. Okay? And then what happens? Jesus was arrested, tried, and then crucified. And then this is what happened to Judas. Verse 3. And when Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned to die, he was seized with remorse. There are times when we make a decision in our defining moments that we can never take back, right? And returned the 30 silver coins to the chief priests and the elders. He thought he can take it back. He's like, I want to renounce my decision. Verse 4. I have sinned. I messed up, he said, for I have betrayed innocent blood. And this is what they said. What is that to us? I don't care. Right? That's your responsibility, sucker, right? Verse 5. So Judas threw the money to the temple, left, then he went away and hanged himself. Here it is, the defining moment, the result of it. His agenda, God's agenda, butted heads. He thought that he could overcome God's agenda with his own plan, force God's hand. And ultimately what happened? It went opposite. He made a decision. He made a decision at the defining moment that he can never take back. Of course, we make bad decisions all the time, and we are forgiven for it. But you know what? There are decisions that we make that we can never, ever go back on. Once made can never be unmade. You know those decisions. You made those decisions. You felt it. You sensed it. You've made decisions where you wish that you can go back and change for whatever situation, but you could not do it because you've made it. You've made it. And some decisions are very difficult to live with, and this was one of them. And Judas actually killed himself for it. Okay? So what happened here? Judas died. Jesus was tried. He was crucified. And yet what happened? He came back. He still came back. You know why? Because God's plan cannot be thwarted. You cannot stop God's plan. And the crazy is Judas, in trying to force his will and his agenda upon God's plan, became an accidental player in fulfilling God's plan. Isn't that crazy? Right? Judas tried to overcome God's plan, but God's plan happened anyways. But then Judas' plan, what happened? Went by the wayside. Judas' agenda, but he was trying so hard to make happen, died. And yet, this plan that he thought, God's plan that he thought he was going to overcome and push and force, still happened. As if God's hand can't be forced, that his will can't be thwarted. Okay? God's plan unfolded, and here we are because of it. To the hands of Judas. What does this God do with us? Okay? What does this God do with us? When we start following Jesus, we're just like Judas. Very similar. We consume. We want him. We take from him. He's good for us. You know, he makes me feel good. He gives me this peace. Right? He allows me to have a good relationship with people. I have a great community because of him. Right? He gives me good direction what to do. Right? His teaching is good for my soul. It's good for my upbringing. And then along the way, as you begin to have this agenda for yourself, God's agenda and your agenda begins to butt heads. Eventually it will. And you come to this defining moment, just like Judas came to. And this is how you know that you're at a defining moment. Can I tell you? Can I tell you? Right? This is how you know you are at a defining moment in your life. Because at that moment, you begin to sense within yourself a moral imperative. There's a sense of black and white all of a sudden. Like there's something outside, you're like, I'm cool with them, I'm whatever. But inside, there's this moral battle that's happening. Voices are speaking to you, right? You need to do this, not that, even though I know you want to do that. Well, you need to do that, even though I know you want to do this. You need to let go of that and hang on to this. You need to hang on to this and actually let go of that. You need to say yes to this and say no to that, even though you really, really, really want to say no. You need to say no to that or say yes to this because I know you really, really want to say yes. There's this inward battle that begins to happen, moral imperative that begins to show itself up. It was almost black and white. I want to do this, but I'm supposed to do this. You're at the defining moment. And you know how you know you're there? Not only is it black and white and there's this raging battle inside, there's this moral imperative inside of you, you're freaked out by it. There's a sense of an unbelievable fear. Because the thing right, that you're walking away from, the thing that you're feeling you're letting go feels like death to you. You feel like you're letting go of your dream situation. You know, when you're in a relationship, there's that moral battle. Anybody can be a Christian, right? I know that's what you want, but not everyone looks like that, right? I mean, he's cute or she's cute, but anyone can become a Christian, you know? But I really want that because it's cute, right? To walk away from a dream job or a dream house, to have to move away when you want to stay, or when you want to, or move when you want to, or actually stay when you want to move. It's going to feel like death. That's how you know you're at this defining moment. It's going to feel like what is being asked of you is ripping your heart away, because what's asked of you it feels like it's essential to what makes you who you are. What's being asked of you to be taken away, or to let go, or to hold on to, whatever it is, it feels like you're letting go of what is essential to your very life. And it freaks you out. And in those moments, what you decide, in your defining moment, what you decide, right, is how much God becomes alive to you. In that moment, what you decide is how much God becomes alive to you. Because when you begin to choose your agenda, can I tell you something? You always wonder, why don't I feel God? Why don't I sense Him more? Let me ask you the question. When was the last time you spoke to His agenda? When was the last time you lived in His agenda? See, it's in those defining moments when you're so afraid, when it's black and white, when there's a moral imperative, I must do or I should not do, when that moment comes, that defines you. And that's what makes you know and makes God becomes more alive, more real to you than ever before. And you don't have to fear that moment. Can I tell you that? You don't have to fear this moment that you're in, or that you're coming into, or that you're walking towards. You don't have to fear this defining moment, because this moment is God's opportunity for you to say, are you going to be a consumer or a follower? This moment, He gives us the opportunity to say, are you going to follow me? Full-fledged, follow me. To let go of your itty-bitty little fledgling agenda that everyone's going to forget about the moment you die. This little bit itty-bitty, witty, nothing agenda that you've been so holding on to that's going to be forgotten in time. Or are you going to follow my agenda? An agenda that will last for all eternity. The agenda that one day when all the world preached my gospel, this story will be known. You come to a defining moment. And the temptation is this, is when you get there, and it's so crazy, and it's so hard, that you just said, you know what, see you, God, I'm done. I want to walk away. I want to just walk away. The temptation is to walk away when you get to that moment, right? Because it's so hard. What is He? It's a black and white. You feel it because it's raging a war inside your soul, and you feel like you're letting go of something that you truly, desperately need, or else you're going to die if you lose it. In that moment, you're going to want to let go and say goodbye. In that moment, can I tell you guys just to pause? Right? Pause and pray this prayer. Father, I want what you want. Right? I just start there. That's a prayer of someone who's being honest. I want what you want. I don't want what you want for me to want, but I pray that I will want what you want for me to want. Just say want 3 times and you got it, right? I want what you want. You know you don't want it. You know every ounce in your energy, you don't want that. You don't want to jump into that. You don't want to engage in it. You don't want to go through with that. But the most honest prayer that you can pray at this moment, a prayer that is moving from consumer to follower, is a prayer that says, I want it. I want what you want for me to want. Right? If Judas was here now, I think he would say something like this. Blessed is the one who chooses to do the will of God rather than attempting to oppose His will on God. If Judas was to stand before us this day and just give us the wisdom of his decision, of his defining moment, to betray the Son of God, innocent blood, thinking that he somehow can thwart or fast forward God's agenda or push God's hand, he would say, "Blessed is the one who chooses to do the will of God rather than attempting to impose his will on God." You guys, I don't know where you're at, but I know a lot of you guys may be there at defining moments. But can I share with you a few defining moments so that you will know examples of it? I'll give you 4 in my life, okay? And then for every 4 defining moments I've had that was good, there was probably 8 that was bad, okay? Defining moments in my life, right? My first and biggest defining moment was when I told my grandma I'm a Christian, and she kicked me out of the house for a month, right? I remember she dragged me up to the shrine. She says, "You take that back, right? You take that back right now." And I was like, "No," right? And she says, "Get out of my house." I was like, "Okay." So I got out of that, and I left the house for about a month, right? Before my mom dragged me back home, right? Praise the Lord for moms, okay? You know, first defining moment. It was hard. Can I tell you? I remember it was so crazy because I was laying. We used to live in apartments. So I slept in the living room. I was laying there and I covered myself with a blanket. And I remember because I knew she wanted me to go and pray because I haven't done the bowing in a while. She's like, you missed like almost 3 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do it anymore, right? And then I was just hiding there. She said, "Go do it." And she got the blanket off. She dragged me over. I said, "Look, I'm a Christian." That was my defining moment. I'm a Christian, right? She's like, "What?" And and then all hell broke loose. And then I was out of the house. Defining moment, right? It was hard, right? But I remember God never felt more alive to me than at that moment, right? Because I remember I walked out. I was like, "Dude, where am I going to go?" Right? Where am I going to go for a month? I was like, where am I going to go? I have no idea how long I'm going to be out there. But I realized at that moment how much God was alive, at that reality, right? Second biggest defining moment in my life was when I decided to go to missions. I said, "You know what? I'm not going to worry about my summer, about getting an internship or volunteering at the hospital or trying to do this. I'm gonna spend the summer and I'm just going to go, right? I mean, I don't know how I'm going to raise the money. It was a defining moment because it was the first thing I did anything that was kind of like, for me, that was kind of big. To step out of America, to get on a plane, to go somewhere I've never been. That was huge for me, right? And that was a big defining moment I didn't think I was going to be able to make, but we made it, right? Defining moment in my life when I broke up with Trisha, right? When I broke up with Trisha, because she was a non-believer at that time, not to be yoked with her. Huge moment, difficult moment, very hard moment, right? Defining moment when I chose seminary instead of med school, right? Very hard. Couldn't believe it. Didn't know what God was thinking, right? Defining moment when I chose TLC instead of staying at AKPC, right? Oh, a huge defining moment. Do what's comfortable or go and meet brand new people that I've never met before in my life, Huge defining moments. But each moment, right? Can I tell you, each moment, though it was hard, though there was a moral imperative, there was so much fear behind it, right? It's God's agenda, no? Right? Seeing the God's play out his story, going through all those relationships to build the relationships we have here, right? It means something. God's will cannot be thwarted. So my prayer for you guys is this, right? And let me tell you, I've had moments where I've done dumb things, moments I wish I can take back, like so much. People that I've hurt that I wish I can so badly go back to and fix, but I can't. Once you've done it, you can't go back. You can never go back to those moments, right? They define you. You've been forgiven for them, yes, but you can never change them, right? And they will be with you. They will be with you, okay? Your agenda, God's agenda, it will come butting heads. You'll recognize it because it will be a moral imperative within your soul. You'll be like two wolves fighting for your very survival, right? You're going to be so much in fear because you feel like the thing that you're letting go is your life itself. The thing that you love, the thing that you want, the thing that you so desired. And what you choose at that moment defines you forever. What you choose at that moment, right, defines you forever. Judas took the other way. He thought that he actually thought that his will can overcome God's will, that he can somehow force God to do what he wanted. It didn't work that way, right? It didn't work that way. I mean, I thought I can force Trisha to be a believer, right? She's going to be a believer anyways, I just had to let it go. It was God's agenda, not mine. You know what I'm saying? Right? Listen, I don't know where you guys are at, but I know He has it probably at these moments many times. Okay? How you grow and how you follow after Christ is born in these moments. Okay? So look to the cross. See what Jesus did as he came to his defining moment and he chose us. Right? I pray that when you come to your defining moment, you would choose him. Let's bow our heads. So today I just want to, let's start a simple prayer. Maybe, some thoughts and some minds are coming up to you, and some issues that's been kind of just rambling in your soul right now. And you're just so afraid. You feel like there's a war going on, and you're afraid of losing what you really want, losing what you think is your life. Can we start with that prayer? Very wiggle room type of prayer. Can we just say, Father, I don't want what you want, but I pray that I will want what you want for me to want. Right? God, I pray that I will want what you want for me to want. It's very simple, very fun, very sweet, very childish, but that's what he wants. He wants a childish, simple, pure prayer. I want to want what you want for me. Let's start there. That's the prayer of a follower, of someone walking towards being a follower, not a consumer. Lord, I want to want what you want for me. Let's come. Whatever that thing is that he is wanting for you, lift it up for him. Lift it up to him. I want to want this. I want to want this because I know that you want for me to want it. I want it, Lord. Let's pray. Let's So, Father, we pray. We can't hide anything from you, Lord. Our whispers, our thoughts, you know them all. And God, we come to these moments in our lives, these defining moments in us. And somehow we think that maybe our agenda can override your agenda. That our plans can somehow force your hand. But I pray, God, at this moment, that we would just want what you want for us. Lord, to even say it is difficult. To even imagine it is gut-wrenching. To even think about it seems life-ending. Lord, I pray that we will let go of our itty-bitty small agenda that will be forgotten in time and cling to the agenda that was meant to save the world. To come into your agenda, to your story. So Lord, we pray, help us to want what you want. Help us to move towards the wanting of what you want for us. We praise you, we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. When we come and just respond to the Lord in offering and in praise. And as you offer, as you give offering, can it be that it's more than just whatever is left over, whatever is in your mind, but can you come and can you, as an act of understanding the word that was spoken, to give and to do what he wants with it, to give as an offering to the Lord, to give because it's the right thing to do, because it's called for us to do, to give in generosity, to give out of our pockets, to give out of our hearts. Let it be a show that we understand. Let as we come, as we respond to the in praise, can we just pray these songs? Maybe we don't have the words to articulate what we want because we're so scared to even say it. So let these songs help us say it to the Lord. So sing it, pray it to God. So let's come and respond to Him with offering, with praise.